are you today? So in this video, I really wanted to go through shining our light. Why for some of us it's so hard to shine our light. Yesterday, I went through a somatic breath work, and every time I go through that, there is so much that is released from my system. It's just incredible, the stuff that comes up. And after that, I mean, there's so much, tears and crying and release while I was in the breath work. But after that, it seemed like I was trying to go about my day and everything was coming up. Everything was coming up for me yesterday. And I wanted to share in this video what that looks like, because sometimes we think it's just, oh, that person was rude. And we think it's that simple. They were rude and that upset us. But sometimes there's a lot more to it than just that. And that's what I wanted to share in this video. So after I did this beautiful somatic breath work, I shared a part of that with one of my best friends. And it's been a few times now. We seem to be in different places of our journey, So I shared, and then, my friend came back, and in this message that I received from her, I could feel this thick layer of jealousy over the top of it. And there's been a few times that I've received messages like that from this friend over the last couple of years. And when I received that message, I felt really upset because I was sharing with this friend, because I honestly feel that when I share, it doesn't just elevate my vibration, but it elevates the vibration of the people I share with. That's why I share all these videos. That's why they make me share. Because I've seen this happen over the years when I do my sharing. Now, in the moment, I was upset with that friend that she came back with that message, trying to put the whole experience down the whole time. And I sat with it. I thought, okay. Later on that day, I went out with my daughter, and I had this heaviness already, Something had come through yesterday from that breath work that was trying to be released. So today I'm sharing my human experience, my humanness with you. I went to the shops later with my daughter, and I don't know what I said something. And in the moment, which I've only done once before with her, she said something silly and I gave her a light slap on the cheek, oh, you're so silly, like that. But yesterday, for some reason, she slapped me, and I think she didn't realize she was going to hit me that hard, but she slapped me quite hard and it jolted my system. Again, we were doing that silly moment that I'd said something goofy and she was just like, oh, you're so silly, and smack. But it went a bit harder than she was expecting. And so I was, taken aback, and I was like, okay, But in that moment that she did that, I wasn't upset that she did that. That slap took me all the way back to when I was 12 years old and my mother slapped me. And it was the last time I remember her slapping me on the face. And her slap was hard, and her slap was deliberate. And I spent the whole afternoon yesterday with this heaviness in my heart. And I remembered something that Malcolm said. And I have so much gratitude for you, Malcolm. Really, I do. And he said something about, a few weeks ago, he was already trying to help me release this, and I didn't pick up on it. He said that it's never okay when parents are abusive with their children. Now, I grew up with stories of my mum telling us how she lost both of her parents when she was 5. And she had to go live with an aunt, and this aunt used to beat them quite severely when they were little, when they didn't do what they were told and all the rest of it. And so I grew up my whole childhood, every time she smacked me, or every time she slapped me, or every time she yelled at me, my mum, I would always play it down that she had a hard childhood. I had to understand that she had a hard childhood, and that's why she behaved that way. Even from quite little, I always used to think, I can't get upset with her because I know what she's been through. And I can't imagine what that, would be like. I always used to make up all these excuses that it's okay because she doesn't know any better. This is her way of dealing with life, after what she'd been through. But in that moment that my daughter slapped me, I stopped for a minute. And I thought, all this time, I've been putting myself aside like I don't matter. Like my mum's feelings were more important. Her life story was more important. She was more important. I didn't matter because my life was not as traumatic as hers. The pain that I was going through wasn't as traumatic as hers. But when my daughter slapped me yesterday and I remembered that slap that day, that hurt. And all this time, all I've done is been pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't matter. So today I wanted to share that because the pain that we feel with our experiences is real. What we suffer is real. We came to have that experience. And it's up to us to acknowledge that yes, it hurt. And yes, it happened. And it meant something to me. Not putting it down like it's not that important. It's not as important as my mum's experience. It's not as painful. Because I grew up with my parents telling me that I had everything. I had my parents, I had a home, I had clothes, I had food, I had everything growing up. But like I was telling my daughter yesterday, from the age of 12 onwards, I couldn't wait to leave my home, my parents' home. I couldn't wait to leave. For me, it felt like a prison. I didn't feel free. I wasn't allowed to choose what I wanted to do. I was always told, this is what you do. This is what you have to do. There were no choices. And I was terrified. And I think terrified is an understatement. I was terrified of my mother. Terrified. But today I wanted to share this for all of you out there that have been doing this to yourself. You've been pushing it all down like it doesn't matter. Like you don't matter. Like it's not important. You don't want to look at it. But we came here to know, what does it feel like when you get slapped so hard? And it makes you feel ashamed. It makes you feel bad inside. Because when you're good, you don't get yelled at. You don't get smacked. Well, yeah. If you were good, sorry. Because in my case, every time I got smacked, I never knew why I was being smacked. I just knew that she was angry. My mum was angry and she was coming for me. But in reality, I never knew why I was being smacked. And I was terrified of making mistakes, what she would consider a mistake, because I would be punished. But what came through for me with that beautiful smack, that slap yesterday, that reminded me of all the smacks, that reminded me of all the yelling and how I felt inside, was that I had put myself aside and I was still doing it. Even, with the whole trip that I went overseas to see my mum, that whole time I'm thinking, you poor woman, everything you've been through. It's been such a hard life. But at no point did I stop to look at, mine wasn't easy either, What I had to go through because of her trauma wasn't easy either. I was always playing it down because it wasn't as bad as hers. Always. I was always putting it down, pushing it down, not giving it the importance that it had for me, not for anyone else, but for me, how it made me feel. The other thing that came up was with my friend, as I said, sent me this recording with this thick layer of envy on top of it. It was a 2-minute message. And as I'm listening to this message, I think my daughter's slap yesterday took over. That all this time I hadn't stopped to realize that my pain was real. My fear was real to me. It mattered to me. I mattered to me. This morning was when I was sitting with the recording and I listened to it again. And I thought, why? Every time I think we're in a space that is open, that I can share completely, I get a message back like that. Where I feel I can't share. And that took me back. And this one I wanted to share for all of you out there that find it hard to shine your light brightly or to be all of who you are. If you feel you're always holding back. Because growing up, that reminded me of my sister's envy. She was just reflecting that back every time. Every time I was excited about something wonderful that had happened and I would share it with this friend, she would come back and there would be this layer of envy over the top of her message. I could feel it. I could sense it. And it took me back to all the times in my childhood where if I shone too brightly, it would hurt my sister. Growing up with her envy towards me. That was always making me dim my light, always making me be smaller, play smaller, not want to shine too brightly. So that's what was coming up today, remembering that for such a long time, every time something wonderful happened, I did an exam and I did really well in the exam at school or whatever wonderful things would happen, it always upset the others around me that weren't interested in any of that, because my sister wasn't interested in school, in learning, in reading, in academia in general. It wasn't her thing. But instead of my mum looking at, okay, well, what is your thing? And let's cultivate that. She was constantly comparing her to me. And I found out with time that my cousins were going through the same. Their parents were always comparing them to me because I was always so good at school. But it wasn't something that, you know, yes, towards the end I was forced to be good at school. But in the early days, it was something natural in me that I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn about this world. I was fascinated with this world. And then with time, my mum thought, you know, that I had a gift and that she didn't want the gift to be squandered. And so she started to, you know, crack the whip that I had to study and I had to do really well and I had to, apply myself to make the most of these gifts. But, you know, today what I wanted to bring up was that we don't acknowledge ourselves. You know, when we go through painful moments, we push it down like it doesn't matter, like it's not important. And it's not about that. It's about acknowledging that we have a right to feel that pain. We have a right to feel that anger. We have a right to feel all of it without having to diminish ourselves in any way. This was the experience we came to have. And for those of you who do have a beautiful bright light, today, let's give ourselves permission to shine brighter than the sun. Just shine because we can. It doesn't matter who it affects, who it doesn't affect. That's their path. That's their journey. We came here to shine. That's our journey. So today, I give me permission to shine. And if you feel the same, let me know in the comments. Is it your time to shine? Is it your time to allow your beautiful light to be seen without having to worry that it's going to upset anyone, without having to worry but just to be the beautiful light we came here to be? I am choosing to be this today. I am giving myself permission. No more dimming. No more playing small. So, you see, when I was talking to you earlier about someone comes in and they are rude to you and you think that that is it, there is so much more going on. If you are affected, there is a lot more going on. And just like my beautiful friend gifted me that moment with her message, it brought me to this place where I don't need to dim my light anymore. I don't need to play small anymore. It doesn't serve anyone. Because when we step out and we are the light we came here to be in the world, it allows others to do the same. It shows others that this beautiful light is in them as well. And they too can choose to shine their beautiful light in the world. All right, my beautiful beings. Just having a human experience. Thought I'd share. Let me know in the comments if anything came up for you, how this made you feel today. Anything you'd love to share, we'd love to read it. Thank you for listening today. I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And share these beautiful videos. Share them, that others may know that they too can shine their beautiful light. Not to be ashamed of it. Not to feel guilty that they have this beautiful light to share and it makes others feel bad. All right, my beautiful beings. Bye for now.